Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. So excited to be back with you right here on this Monday. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next couple of hours right here on Fantasy Life. And it is time, Adam. We had a huge draft weekend over the weekend. I'm sure a lot of people did. I saw a lot of cool screenshots, so appreciate that. And now we're another week closer, and it just gets bigger and bigger because I know we're gonna have a lot of calls this week, a lot of questions, and we're here for you, here to help you guys dominate those leagues, dominate those drafts. How you doing today, Adam? How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. Had a fun draft over the weekend. You were in it as well for our Greenwich Street Tavern League. So that was a fun time. And of course, another big draft week ahead, a big draft weekend. Then people will be doing drafts leading up to the start of the season a week from Thursday. It is almost here.
Stop. Say it again. A week from Thursday?
Yeah, it still doesn't feel
so
like
good.
it. But yeah, 2 games too. We got that Thursday and Friday next week.
Oh, that's right. Because the Friday one is the international game, right?
Yes, Chargers and Chiefs from Brazil.
Hopefully no one gets injured in that game like we had last season.
Yeah,
please. We don't need that. Oh my gosh, don't put that out there. We did have a draft this weekend though. I saw a ton of, by the way, the screenshots. I love seeing screenshots of just how different teams look. So if you guys have those, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, if you want to send them our way. And again, we're going to make sure to open up the phone lines here too, because I know a ton of people, I got a ton of questions over the weekend. FantasyLife.com is where you guys can go if you have questions, can't call today on the phone lines, can't get through to us on X. Make sure you go over to FantasyLife.com. Use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. I liked our draft. I complained about having the 12 spot. I'm not going to complain anymore, Adam. I'm done. It worked out. I had a great time.
Yeah, of course. Kendall all the time. Once the draft order came out, why'd you give me 12? Why you put me at 12?
I have to do that. I have to do it for the plot, for the show.
And then loved her draft, and even the people who were at the draft, because Kendall wasn't there, we did it in person at the Greenwich Street Tavern in New York City, and everyone's like, damn, look at Kendall start, what a team. So yeah, it just broke right for you, and sometimes that happens where players just fell in your lap. I was like, wow. I mean, it did happen to me early on too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Don't say that it didn't happen to you either, because I was looking at some of these things like Puka. I texted you. I said Puka falling. I thought this was going to be my dilemma, where I would have Puka and Achane, and while those guys were still on the board, I was the 12 spot. So I decided Nico Collins, who I have never gotten in the 12 spot before. Nico was there, and then Brian Thomas Jr. was there on the turn. So I said, no question, that's how I want to start this, because Derrick Henry was off the board. I didn't really want Kyron Williams too early to go out and get, an Amarian Hampton, an Achane, a Josh Jacobs for me, in my opinion. But then the guy that I thought I was going back and forth with, Puka Nacua, fell to you, and you had the third overall spot.
He fell to 210. And again, this is why we always say, a lot of people try to plan out their first few rounds. You just have to be flexible and adjust to what's going on around you, because I didn't have any idea that Nacua would fall that far. He was not in my plans because I obviously felt like he would be gone. So as it came to me, I was like, wow, I'm probably going to just take him. I mean, again, he's my wide receiver too. I start with CeeDee Lamb.
Absolutely.
And I understand the concerns with Matthew Stafford and the back, and he has been back on the practice field, but you still don't know over the course of a season. A 37-year-old with a back issue, we know those tend to not get better. So there definitely is some risk, but it comes to the point where he fell too far, and
he did.
To me, that was like an easy click there. So I didn't expect it at all. I was surprised.
No, it was. I love your receivers. I texted you this after the draft, but you walked away with CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Bucky Irving is your RB1, which again we've talked about him. I love that. Calvin Ridley. You got your guy, our guy. I wish he came back, but he didn't.
I knew he wasn't making it back.
No, I know. Emeka Egbuka,
so
and then Isaiah
let me
Pacheco
ask you a question though, because Egbuka was there, but so was Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts. Which would you have done? Would you have pulled the
Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts?
Would you have taken a quarterback there round 5?
Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. I probably not with Egbuka on the board, to be totally honest.
Yeah, it was a tough call because I keep saying in the 5th round with these quarterbacks they're really good values that it comes a certain point where you just have to take them. And it was torn, and I was like, with the extra flex spot, I'm like, I want to take Egbuka, who's just such in a good spot now with Jalen McMillan out halfway through the year. Godwin dealing with his issue where he might not be back to early October. So it just sets up well to begin the year. And again, if he starts the year very well, he's not coming off the field. I mean, he's probably going to play a lot anyway, 3 wide sets. But if he's performing, yeah, they're not going to go away from him. And then, Mike Evans is 32, where
you never know.
We've seen him had hamstring issues throughout his career. So.
And I think, the extra flex spot is what would have done me when I'm looking at Ibuka on the board, because my plan, I got Jalen Hurts, and you and I always talk 6-1.
You had to do that there. That was an easy call.
I had to. I would have, maybe that decision would have been more difficult for me because I had Ricky Pearsall queued up. I had RJ Harvey queued up as well. And then they were both taken 2 picks, the 2 picks before me. So I said to myself,
if they were there, you would have passed on Hurts?
I might have, yeah.
Wow,
especially if it was Ricky Pearsall, to be totally honest.
He went fifth round.
I thought he was going to make it back to me. And at that point, I might have taken, and if Harvey was there, I might have doubled up and just taken Ricky Pearsall and RJ Harvey, because my running back spots are a little, whenever you think you have a good draft, there's always going to be one spot where you just feel a little bit light. No matter where you're drafting, no matter how many spots you have, you're just always going to just feel a little bit questionable at one position. And for me in this draft, it is running back, because I took Travion Henderson, came back with Devontae Smith, because again, we have it's 3 receivers, 2 flex, right? Yeah. So I just said, you know what? I need another guy in the flex. So took Devontae Smith. But like you said, Jalen Hurts 6-1. I could not pass that up. And I got Trey McBride that's another guy that fell way too far, in my opinion.
312.
And listen, someone took George Kittle ahead of him. And I get if you believe that George Kittle is going to be...
That was Michael Salfino, who we had on last week.
Hey, if he believes that he's going to be the overall tight end 1, you go with your rankings, you go with your tiers. But Trey McBride falling to me... I had people ask me if it was a third round reversal. I was like, oh, that's a beautiful question. No, it isn't. Thank you so much. But yeah, when Jalen Hurts goes 6-1, I was like, you know what? I'll double up. I'll get a little mini stack with Devontae Smith, and I went Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts. But this is an example of us, always talking about, hey, we love later round quarterbacks. You walked away with Justin Fields as your QB1, and then you came back with Caleb Williams a couple rounds later. So that's something that we like to do. But if Jalen Hurts is there for you in the 6th round, I just think sometimes you have to stop the fall, and that's what I did.
Yeah, so I was the last one to take a quarterback. It was round 11, and I looked, and I said, maybe I can push it and wait another round. And I was like, what if people start taking backups? So I didn't. Yeah. No one took a quarterback in that whole turn. I could have waited and got my first quarterback in round 12. But when you're picking on the ends, you kind of have to make that decision. But back to your point is, yeah, you might be weak at the RB2, but you have an elite tight end who we expect to lead the Cardinals in targets in McBride, and an elite quarterback in Hurts. So that is the price you pay for waiting on that RB2. But I'd rather do that, because you're going to need one of those running backs to pop. I mean, it doesn't. You're going to need Jaylen Warren to play a big role, or Bigsby to play a big role, or get traded, which, we heard some murmurs about Bigsby or ETN potentially being traded. So that could potentially happen. So, yeah, I mean, look, when you're in a competitive league, especially with that extra flex spot, you're probably going to be weak somewhere, and you have to kind of make that decision. Some people will go tight end. Some people will go RB2. I don't want it to be the receivers, especially when you have to start 3 and you have the 2 flex spots. But, yeah, you're sometimes going to come away with a weakness, and that's where you can use the waiver wire to patch it up. In home leagues or other leagues, you can use trades. We do not have trades in this league.
Ugh, I know it's the worst. I wanted to trade my pick for the 12th overall spot.
Okay, do you want to do it now? We'll start over?
No. I'm good now. I did have someone comment saying thought we didn't like taking second quarterbacks when we have an elite quarterback already. This one, we always say it's different for each league. This is 20 rounds,
right.
10 bench spots.
11 starters, 9 bench spots. Yeah,
that point,
I mean, if I were you,
I took JJ. I took JJ McCarthy.
Can you get away with it? Yeah. I believe everyone took a backup quarterback. So if you know that, and those second quarterbacks will not be dropped in this league. Pretty much almost everyone keeps 2 quarterbacks. In fact, there was a team that drafted 3. So, yeah, like Kendall and I did a charity league with CBS Sports to help St. Jude, we only have 6 bench spots. We did not take a backup quarterback. We're not going to take a backup quarterback in that format because we know they are going to be available on the waiver wire. So it all depends on how many bench spots you have. But in a league with 20 rounds where you're going to have 9 to 10 bench spots, yeah, I'm going to take a second quarterback. If you have a Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and you want to start the year without one, I'm fine with that too. Because as long as their bye weeks are like around 9 or 10, if you have a quarterback that has a bye week in week 5, then yeah, you might want to cover it early in the year. But yeah, that's why it's important to know league rules, settings, roster construction, because it's fluid.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I, said, and know your league mates, if you have a league that, that, hey, maybe these quarterbacks usually aren't taken up like this. Like Adam said, we had a quarterback taken for each team, except for the Brock Purdy team. He has no
backup.
He has no backup for Brock Purdy. But other than that, it was a good draft. It was fun. We'll see.
Yeah,
how
it was fun for you because you did very well.
You had a great draft. What are you talking about?
No, my team. I like my team too.
Yeah.
But you got some gifts though. I don't know
did
you pay like a few of those guys at the end of the draft?
I told you, out of my manifest things, I say that guys are going to fall to me, and they did. Trey McBride should never fall to the 3-4 turn, and Jalen Hurts should never fall to the 6th round.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
All that complaining about picking 12 and you crushed it.
It paid off. Yeah, it paid off. I'm going to always
And that's
complain.
an example, though, for people. Like, don't worry about your draft position. If you know what you're doing, you're on fantasylife.com, you're following our rankings, you're going to be fine. It doesn't really matter where you pick.
You can complain first, though. Don't listen to Adam. Complain first and then go crush your drafts.
Oh, because it worked for you? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's so fun. Come on. I picked 12 almost every single draft except for when I went to Vegas over the weekend, which was nice because I was picking 4th spot and 6th. Beautiful spots to pick from, by the way. But yeah, complain first and then go crush your drafts. Go to fantasylife.com. Go use that code. Go use that code SXM20. Gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. Like I always say, we've got our rankings over there. We've got projections for the season as well, and much, much more. So make sure you head over there. We didn't get to talk, Adam, about the Brian Robinson Jr. trade, and I know that happened a few days ago. Kind of old news for everyone here, but I do want to get our thoughts on this because for people drafting over the weekend, that's why we always say it's important to keep up on the news and know what's happening here. But Brian Robinson Jr. Going to the San Francisco 49ers. They've traded Robinson. The Commanders traded Robinson, and they got a 2026 6th-round draft pick for him. Your expectations for the backfield. Let's start with the 49ers. It seems pretty obvious that Brian Robinson Jr. is now going to be the backup to Christian McCaffrey. Sorry, Isaac Guerrero drafters. There were other guys going down the depth charts that maybe you're taking a flyer on late, but it really, when we look at this, and I think it was confirmed by Shanahan as well, saying that Brian Robinson Jr. will be the team's number 2. So he is the handcuff to CMC right now.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate if you did some early drafts and you might have taken him a little earlier than you should go. And same thing with Guerrero. That's really brutal because a lot of people were taking him as the handcuff to Christian McCaffrey in drafts over the last couple months. So, look, it's one of those things. It's unfortunate. We've talked about drafting early all the time. There are a lot of pros. There's going to be some negatives. This is just one of them. Nothing you could do. You could just move on. But, yeah, Robinson is the guy. And I would think you might see a split if McCaffrey would go down with Robinson and Guerrero. But Guerrero's been banged up, too, here in the preseason. So they've had a lot of injuries, not only at running back but wide receivers. So they were looking to shore up that backfield in case Christian McCaffrey does go down. But he's been the healthiest guy in the backfield here in training camp.
I don't know what's going on with just the injuries. Because, Guerrero has it was the shoulder injury, missed time in training camp with the shoulder. Jordan James, who was the 5th-round draft pick, I think broke his finger or something like that. It's just, I don't know what's been going on over there. But you've got Brian Robinson Jr. Over there now, again, as the handcuff to CMC. When we look at it for the Washington Commanders, I've seen this go multiple different directions here, Adam. So it kind of depends on who you're talking to. I want to know your thoughts because I've heard that this is going to be more of a committee with Austin Ekeler getting a little bit more work than maybe people expect. And then, of course, there's the other side where it's Jacory Croskey-Merritt season. It's time to draft Bill. We've seen him going earlier, obviously, in drafts, especially over the weekend in Las Vegas. I was, trying to figure out where he was going to go, and it was always earlier than I expected. So what do you think the backfield, what do you think it really does look like for the Washington Commanders for this season?
I think Croskey-Merritt's probably the lead back. You'll see Ekeler in passing situations. There is talk about Chris Rodriguez near the goal line. I mean, I'm still taking Croskey-Merritt the highest, but I think I'm priced out now. I got him a lot early on. Talked about, I think I got him in the host league in round 13, fishbowl round 18, best ball drafts in double-digit rounds. He went 5-5 in our draft over the weekend.
I
that is just too early. So, again, this is one of the benefits of drafting early. You get some players that are just going to rise up draft boards at a really cheap price. But he is, I've seen 5th, 6th round is where he's going now.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where he went in a couple of my drafts over the weekend, but I can find that a little bit later. He went.
Yeah, for me,
early.
He's like around RB 33, RB 34.
Yeah, let me look. I updated mine as well, and same with. Where did you move? You moved Ekeler up then, right?
Yeah,
a little
I did.
bit. Yeah. Where do you have? I have him 41.
Somewhere in that range too. Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you say you have Jacory Bill? Where do you have
like
Bill?
33, 34, somewhere around there.
Feels right. It was, it was almost the worst kept secret, right? They told us weeks ago that they were shopping Brian Robinson. It was just a question of, was it going to happen before the season started? Was it going to happen during the season, before the NFL trade deadline? And yeah, they got that deal done. So I think, and Chris Rodriguez, you mentioned, but he is also, late round, if you have 20 round drafts, right? I've seen him go in a couple of them just in case the worst comes to worst and you see Austin Ekeler go down, Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Not that he would have a huge significant role, but Rodriguez is someone to remember there.
Yeah, he definitely went in our league because I know someone wanted him. They're like, wow, I didn't think anyone was going to take him.
Did you have a sticker for him? Or did you have to write it out?
That might be, yeah, we had a couple write-ins. Maybe he was a write-in. Because I
don't see him.
He definitely was drafted. I know that for sure. Yeah, it was probably like 16, 17, maybe 15, somewhere in that. Oh, there it is. You are right. It was a write-in. Round 14.
Yeah.
To Jen Piacenti.
Nice. Go Jen. I see Jacory Cross. This was before the news, but Bill went in round 8 at the 7-8 turn for us in that high stakes league. So yeah,
he's the buzzy name.
We're gonna be priced out. You can't get him anymore. That scared me to death.
You get scared all the time, man.
Well, because
really
it's loud. Is that not loud in your ears?
No, it's not. I didn't move.
Well, that's because
didn't scare me.
Whatever. Bill. Yeah, exactly. Bill. Jacory Croskey-Merritt. So we'll continue. We're gonna stop.
They're gonna get you every time.
Every time if you're seeing the video feed, you're gonna see me like twitch a little bit. Anyway, we're going to continue on. We're going to continue breaking down this news that we heard over the weekend with the one and only Dwayne McFarland. You can check out the preseason takeaways, by the way, fantasylife.com. Make sure you go check it out. Dwayne does an amazing job with this every single week. So it's the usage and utilization takeaways from every team, 100% free at fantasylife.com. We're talking with Dwayne McFarland here coming up next. It's in Dwayne in the membrane per Peter Overzet. In Dwayne in the membrane. Dwayne, how's it going? I thought you were going to sing for us. What's going on?
Well, Pete sings that song so well. I don't want to, I can't live up to that bar. So yeah, I mean, we should have had Pete on for a minute, to do the old school intro we had a couple of years ago.
Just to sing it. We've got Dwayne McFarland here at Dwayne McFarland over there on X. He did crunch the numbers over the weekend for us, Dwayne. It was the preseason games that we had to look forward to. Now we're just 1 week closer to the start of the NFL season. So excited to break this. Thank goodness. Excited to break this down with you. And again, people can go and check out at fantasylife.com. The article that we're going to be referencing throughout this segment here is the preseason week 3 fantasy football news from Dwayne McFarland. It is 100% free. As always, everyone should go and check it out. Can we start with Bill really quick and your expectations for Bill? Should we, first of all, love the nickname Bill, because it's Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Gets so many people asking who's Bill again, and it's JCM. But what are your expectations for Jacory, not just Jacory Croskey-Merritt, and then overall over there in Washington, what that backfield is going to look like?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. Obviously, you guys just covered a huge part of it, which is Brian Robinson Jr. traded to the 49ers. I thought Adam did a great job of breaking down basically like the ups and downs you got out of that deal. If you'd been drafting Robinson, Garendo, and things like that, they moved down. I think the beauty with Robinson is that while you're not going to love that you took him in round 9, we also know that, man, if you do happen to get the 49ers handcuff correct, which is not always easy, but Kyle Shanahan has actually come out and said, we drafted him to be our running back. We traded for him to be our running back too. So I think that's really still, you have value. The Garendo one really does hurt. But as far as Bill goes, yeah, I think there's nothing you can do but be excited. I think he should be going in the range of drafts, probably, depending on your build, depending on where you're drafted. Kendall, you and I and Ronis, we draft in some of these leagues where people get mighty aggressive. And so I've seen people build 0 running back teams or hero running back teams, and they'll take Bill in round 6.
Wow.
And I don't think you can necessarily argue against it because, let's be honest, Bill is the new entry to this equation that create.
Did that scare you? Because
no,
that
it didn't
scares
scare me, but I love it. The Bill, yes, like Bill. It was a great title by Ian and his write-up.
That's not me.
Just let it run for the whole segment.
Yeah,
but like he's the new entrant to the equation that changed things and made this team willing to move on. So some people kind of get hung up on the Chris Rodriguez stuff, and I'm not saying Rodriguez won't have a role. It could be a 3-way split here. But Croskey-Merritt, like, he's the straw that stirs the drink. So if we're thinking of ceiling outcomes here of what could happen, I don't think it's Austin Ekeler taking over the backfield as much as we love him. I don't see him having a 60% snap share in week 1. I don't see Rodriguez having that either. If one of these guys is going to take over, I do believe it's going to be Croskey-Merritt, and that's in his range of outcomes. Again, it could end up being a 3-way committee. They could also just be saying, we have 3 guys and we don't really feel that we need Brian Robinson Jr. But again, make no mistake about it, Bill and the surprise that he has been through the summer is what put them in a position to move on. I don't know if I can even keep going, to move on from Brian Robinson Jr.
Did you move Ekeler up at all with the news, or did you keep? Okay.
Yeah, I think you have to. I moved him up like 10 spots. I think he moved up like 3 or 4 running back spots. And I do think there's a better chance now. Like, Croskey-Merritt's dealing with a shoulder injury, right? That they've been taking it easy on him in training camp. Last week, he didn't play. Obviously, this last weekend, he rested with Austin Ekeler. So I still think that Ekeler probably holds the most value if something does happen to Croskey-Merritt. And I think that's more clear now with Brian Robinson Jr. out of the equation. So I do think you have to move all of these guys up. Chris Rodriguez Jr., if you're playing in a draft that, like, Ronis plays in sicko leagues where you got to draft 20 rounds like me, like, he's a fine last round dart. I mean, he could end up being valuable as well. But yes, Bill, I'm pausing and they didn't do it. Bill is the name. Bill is the name. Our timing is off, guys.
There we go. We'll get it together.
It's still training camp.
Right. But Bill is the name.
Let's look at the Steelers backfield now, because this is one that a lot of people don't know what's going on here either. And we saw in that preseason game, Kenneth Gainwell in the mix along with Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson. So how are you looking at this backfield?
Well, 2 words, Arthur Smith. This is the thing. Like, for the most part, coaches just get their best players on the field. And I'm not saying Arthur Smith's not going to do that in this scenario, but he is, Ronis, he's always a wild card. And Kenneth Gainwell is the new wild card. I don't think we can dismiss the fact that, he started both games with Jaylen Warren out. He worked with Jaylen Warren with the starters ahead of Caleb Johnson this weekend. So there's a real chance that this is a 3-way committee. Now, here's the positive of it. The ambiguity of the situation makes it where all of these guys, and I'm not drafting Gainwell, to be clear. Like, I do think he's going to have a little role that's going to annoy us all. I don't think he's going to end up being someone that we really can want to put in our fantasy lineups without an injury. So he would be like a last round pick. But Caleb Johnson's value, continues to fall now because of this. So I wasn't taking Caleb Johnson when he was a round 6, round 7 pick. But now that you're telling me the ambiguity's still really the same, but people just realized that there's more ambiguity, and now he's going later. So I've really started to grab the Caleb Johnson shares here lately. So if I had to put a chip on the guy that could break the league late in the year, I do think that it's Caleb Johnson. I think he has a different skill set than Gainwell or Warren that kind of fits, the whole Steelers mantra, if we want to go with a little bit of a narrative. But you also can't rule out Jaylen Warren. This is a guy that's shown he can work across all downs. He can be really good in the receiving game. So I think Warren and Caleb Johnson, with all this news and how muddled things are with where you get them in a draft, it's really fine, especially like if you've got two backs on your team when you get to that and you're looking for a third that's a swing. I think those guys fit in that range with Jordan Mason. I think J.K. Dobbins is even in that part of the chat. So I like them in that range.
Arthur Smith ruining our fantasy teams, Dwayne. It's a tale as old as time. It's like, what's the over under for you just writing him up in your takeaways after week 3? Just say,
and a preseason week 3, things are a little different now. We did have several teams that really they had their season, whatever you want to call it, their dress rehearsal, their sound check. There's many ways that we can go through this. We had multiple teams that actually did that this weekend. Teams do it at different times. Some do it in week 2 of the preseason. Some do it in week 3. And the Steelers were a team that did it in week 3. So we got a little bit more information here. But yes, Kendall, I understand if some people are just completely out on Arthur Smith.
It makes sense.
And if you want to be, that's really okay. I mean, there's a strong. Typically, I fade a lot of the coaching stuff, but with Arthur, I understand why people, get a little bit queasy.
You mentioned J.K. Dobbins just a couple minutes ago of running backs, that you're comfortable in the range that they're going. We've talked a lot on this show about R.J. Harvey, because he's the shiny new toy, feels like a really, really a Sean Payton pick when they got him in the NFL draft. But why should people still be paying attention to J.K. Dobbins in drafts right now?
Yeah. So number one, they're both still good picks. And I know people look at it and they're like, well, I got to take Harvey in round 6, but I get Dobbins in round 9. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I really want exposure to both of these players, Kendall. I do think that J.K. Dobbins is going to be the quote unquote starter, but I don't think that means a ton. I think it means you will see a rotation with these two backs. The main thing we want to avoid here is a third guy getting in the mix, which we know Sean Payton is another coach where we do have to pay attention to his trends because over time, he has shown a willingness to use 3 guys. Now, if you go back and look at those times, it's not really been when he's had 2 players of the caliber of Dobbins and Harvey. So I think Dobbins probably gets a little bit more of the early down work. That's the way I've got it projected. I think Dobbins works on obvious pass downs like 3rd and 8 when a blitz is coming. And that's what people have to understand. The big thing I'm hearing around Harvey is, well, he can't protect in pass pro. Guys, you just have to realize that pass pro snaps, which is the way I quantify that, are downs where most defenses know that offenses are going to be throwing based on the data that we can look at that says offenses throw the majority of the time in these situations. So what do defenses do in those scenarios, Kendall? They're more likely to play man coverage. They're more likely to blitz you. So they want to have a pass protector in. But here's the thing. You're not scoring fantasy points on those downs for the most part as a pass protector. Why? Because you're picking up the blitz. You're not, and they're not throwing a 3-yard pass because it's 8 yards to go to get the first down. So points per drop back or points per snap on these plays is 0.20 for a running back. 0.20 fantasy points per snap. Compare that to first down. It's 0.35 fantasy points per snap. So I still think that Harvey's going to see plenty of early down work. I think he has a chance to get the 2-minute offense. And that confuses people too. They're like, well, in the 2-minute offense, you want the guy that can protect. No, because what are defenses doing, Kendall, in those scenarios? They're essentially in a scenario where they're either leading or it's close to halftime. And they're saying, we're just going to stay back. We're not giving you the easy big play where you could score at halftime or you could score to get back in this game. We're going to make you go 10 plays. And what they are actually asking the offense to do is throw the ball to the running back. They want the offense to throw the ball underneath up to the running back. Well, guess what? Offensive coaches know this as well. So what do? They're not as worried about the guy that can pick up the blitz. They put the player out there that can get more yards after the catch whenever they do get that target. And they have a chance of turning that 4 yards into 10 yards and a first down. They keep a drive moving. So I think Harvey's very live to be in that role. And fantasy points per snap in the 2-minute offense is triple what you get on long down and distance. So I think Harvey's still going to play a key role. Again, I like both of these players. I think they're both priced fine. I'm not trying to get both of them on my fantasy teams, but it's like, I'll take RJ Harvey and then maybe the next draft I don't get him and I'll target Dobbins. I think it's just it's also just a rich environment. We know that Sean Payton is going to throw a lot to the backs.
Yeah.
How about the Bears backfield? Obviously, DeAndre Swift, as you mentioned, played 95% of the snaps on the first 3 drives, but Roschon Johnson and Kyle Monangai didn't play. So how do you kind of look at this?
Yeah, so it's a little bit tougher when we have these injuries, and I talk about that. But I think there's also some positives that they just haven't played DeAndre Swift this preseason. He's worked with the starters, like almost not exclusively, but for the most part throughout camp, based on the reports that we have. And then they put him in bubble wrap until this dress rehearsal. So as much as DeAndre Swift does like check some like dead zone kind of things where it's like dead zone, guys, if you're not familiar with it, it's essentially, whenever we push a running back too far up our rankings just because we look at their competition and think, well, who else is going to get the carries, right? But I'll say this, Ronis, and I want your thoughts. I do think Swift showed enough early in his career, and even with the Eagles, that I think that there is still some underlying talent here. It's a guy that's, had some high target shares through his career, high targets per route run. It's a guy that has shown to make explosive plays. He does some things that, to be honest, piss coaches off because he won't take maybe the yards he should right in front of him. And so coaches can get frustrated with that, and it can cause for a loss of playing time. So like if they think a guy like Manungai is just going to come in and get the 4 yards they want and not potentially lose 2 yards, it could be a challenge for Swift. But right now, it's all on the table for him right now. I think it's up to him to hold on to this role. And if we think the Bears are a better offense where you're getting Swift, and now, guys, it really depends on where you're playing. This is where I would go over to fantasylife.com. I would check out the ADP tool where you can see it pretty much for every site out there, and you also get a consensus. And there are sites right now where I'm drafting DeAndre Swift. Then there's other sites where I'm like, I'm not drafting DeAndre Swift in round 4. Like, I'm not doing it. But if you're going to let me get him in round 7, like I played in a home league yesterday where I don't know how much of the room, I can't say for sure. I've never played with all these guys, but I kept getting sniped left and right. Trevion Henderson, all my guys were gone. Tyler Warren, people taking them right in front of me.
They read your content.
Yeah, they got your rankings.
Maybe they read somebody's content. They got some good content somewhere, and these guys drafted really well. And man, so I just kept taking the receivers, and DeAndre Swift, I took him. He fell to like round 8. And I'm like, all right, I'm taking DeAndre Swift in this scenario. So I think it's DeAndre Swift. The future is in his hands. And if he plays well, he could still be a steal where you're getting him in drafts, depending on the site.
Yeah, you are right. I'm looking at that tool right now on Fantasy Life, and Swift 48.7 CBS, 52.1 RT Sports, 70.2 on Yahoo, 66.4 in Sleeper. So, yeah,
those last two are more. Yeah, it's more palatable, especially depending, like maybe you went hero running back. You took one running back in your first, maybe you got one running back heading into round 6. Well, I like DeAndre Swift as my running back 2 in that scenario, because that also means you probably grabbed an elite quarterback or tight end, and your wide receiver room should be really strong. And so at a minimum, DeAndre Swift is a guy that you're going to get to play right out of the gate. He's probably not losing his role in week 1 unless he fumbles like 3 times in a row or something that could get him benched. So I think at least early season, like, you're protected and you can kind of figure some things out for how you want the rest of your running back room to shake out as far as upside for later in the season.
Are you targeting any of the backups though, like Roschon or Kyle Manungai? Because the thing that people like to say is like, okay, new head coach coming from the Lions. What if it's a Thunder Lightning situation, like their running backs back there? Do you envision that at all?
It could certainly happen. It's in the range of outcomes. The thing I will say is that at this point, because Roschon Johnson's foot has held him out of so much action, you can get him really late. I thought Coach Speak Index, he did some hilarious stuff saying, can someone please ask about Roschon Johnson? Because no one ever asked about him in any of the press conferences, and we're dying for some information to understand what his role might be. But all the quotes I've read that I can find around Roschon talk about a specific role. And so what I think that could be is honestly handling the long down and distance stuff, being the guy in pass pro, maybe picking up some of the 2-minute offense, which would hurt DeAndre Swift. I think Kyle Manungai, like where his potential upside comes in is if Swift, like we talked about earlier, does some things that frustrate the coaches. Maybe he's bouncing an inside run outside when they really just need 3 yards and it's there, and he's trying to hit the home run and then they have to punt. Like that sort of thing. Ben Johnson's pretty maniacal about players doing what he's asking them to do in his scheme. That's the out for Kyle Manungai. Like I could see, even though he's a 7th round pick, he could be more like an Isaiah Pacheco where they're just like, we're just going to give it to this guy. So Kendall, I do think they're both in play, but I think you need to be in a really deep league. We're talking 20 round, 18 round drafts. If you're playing in a typical 14 to 15 round draft, you're not going to draft them, but they are names to watch on the waiver wire.
Dwayne, we appreciate you so much. We'll get on the same page with the bill drop, throughout the season. We'll make sure we do that, but everyone can go to fantasy. There we go. See, we're going to get better at that. We're going to get into mid-season form here very quickly. Everyone can go check out this article though, and I highly recommend it. FantasyLife.com, preseason week 3 fantasy football news. Dwayne goes through the usage and utilization takeaways for every team from over the weekend, and we get to talk to you next week, Dwayne.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Also, just one last thing, guys. Yeah. The draft strategy guide is up.
Nice.
All my research from February until today, all synthesized into one piece, set up for how you're going to handle your drafts. What to do if you if you start with a certain kind of build on a certain site. We've got examples in there for Yahoo, ESPN, Sleeper that walk you through early draft position, middle, late. So yeah, everything that you need is there. And I will be updating that this week for a V2, just based on any new takeaways from the preseason, or just other general things. Like I'm just kind of starting to move Mike Evans up the board as a great example, Kendall. So he'll get added to some of the guys that I'm targeting. We could have a scenario like last year where Mike Evans, is getting to operate in all these different areas of the field, not just a deep threat. So that will be updated this week, but folks can check it out all for free over at fantasylife.com.
Oh, I'll make sure I'll tweet that out once we get out of here. I'll make sure to tweet it out so everyone can go and check it out. But it's called Fantasy Football Draft Strategy, like Dwayne just said. How to win on Yahoo, ESPN, and Sleeper if you want to look it up. Dwayne, we appreciate it as always. See you next week.
Thanks, Kendall. Thanks, Ronis.
Thanks.
All right, there he goes. We're going to be talking Fantasy Life favorite sleepers here coming up next. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. That's right, football fans. Watch local NFL games live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. This year's schedule is absolutely stacked with rivalries and revenge games, including the next chapter of the epic Bills-Chiefs saga. So stay connected to it all on any device, at home or on the go. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today, and count on Sundays for another must-see season of the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. It is a great day. Vibes are immaculate on this Monday because we've got football soon, and that can brighten anyone's day. We got college football this weekend, Adam. You like college football?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's some big games this weekend, so.
Yeah, go Forks up, right? Can you be a Sun Devil fan all season?
Sure. Yeah, I don't really have a football team in college, so I didn't go to a big time school like you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Arizona State, totally known for their football. But I love them anyway. That's okay. I want to make sure that we are seeing your questions.
Oh, by the way, once again, no Scatterable. Yeah. I mean, you're embarrassing now to the brand.
What are you talking about? What did you want me to do?
Take him. He went in round 9.
He was gone. I know, he was gone by the time that I was ready to draft him.
You could have taken him on the 8-9 turn.
No chance I was going to take him on the 8-9 turn.
Why not?
I needed another flex guy.
Okay.
I needed gold. I like Golden 10 times actually out of 10. I'll take Matthew Golden ahead of Cam Scatterable.
Yeah, but okay. Then you took what? Golden? You took Jaylen Warren over him. That's kind of.
he was gone. Oh yeah, no, that would have been too early.
Yeah.
Too early for me to take.
Well, I guess you don't have as much faith in Scatterable as we thought.
Oh my gosh, here we go. He was back out there though. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still liking him. No one listen to Adam. What are we doing here? At Keon Valenzuela 17. At Adam Ronis over there on X, seeing all of your screenshots from your drafts over the weekend. Make sure you keep sending them in because I love to look at those. We'll talk about them here on the air. Want to give the phone number out early too because we want to take as many. We know this is a big weekend. Want to take as many phone calls as we can. 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Wanted to get started here, Adam, with our favorite sleepers from Fantasy Life. Fantasy Life's favorite sleepers. Say that 5 times fast. I don't think you could, but maybe you could. Probably. Anyway, let me give you a couple here that some of us wrote up over the weekend, and I want to get your thoughts on them. Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims has been a buzzy name over the last couple of weeks. I know you and I have talked about Pat Bryant, the guy that they brought in. And so when we look at Marvin Mims, this is one of Matthew Friedman's favorite 2025. And he says it's a bench pick because Marvin Mims isn't someone that you're essentially going to start week 1 and feel really good about it. But he has been a buzzy name over these last couple of weeks.
Yes, he's definitely a bench guy. I am interested as well. He holds a special place because he was catching all my props last year. I mean, they were setting his line in the 20s. and he just would go off every single week. He did let me down, though, in the playoffs, though. I did have it, and he didn't come through, but it's all right. Yeah, I mean, if you believe Cortland Sutton, he said he's going to be, the other starter, the second best receiver there. So that's the thing you're looking at. You got Troy Franklin there, Pat Bryant, but it looks like Mims is going to be, for now, finally a starter or play a significant amount of snaps, and that's been always the biggest concern. Like on a per play basis, he's been excellent, but he hasn't been on the field enough. So it looks like finally that's going to change this year. So yeah, again, you're talking about a guy that you're putting on your bench. You could see how it goes the first few weeks, and if it's back to what we've seen where it's inconsistent and he's not getting enough playing time and not getting the ball enough, you can move on. But yeah, I definitely like Mims for where he's going right now.
I agree. And they got, well, they didn't get rid of, but they traded Devon Bailey over to the Saints. So it just kind of frees up another spot down there. So if there's any fall as well from, we never want it to happen, but if there's a fall off from Cortland Sutton, he's 30 years old. I think Mims could also get a workload boost, not the full thing, but a boost in the workload if that were to ever happen in a Broncos offense that we think is ascending and getting better this season from what we saw last year, which was really good last season. But there's a lot of expectations around Bo Nix getting better and the offense as a whole getting better. So that means Marvin Mims should be a guy that should continue to be on your radar. We've got a couple more names that I definitely want to get through. Fantasy Life Sleepers. You can find the article at fantasylife.com and our rankings as well. Got a few more names to go through here coming up next. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here on this Monday. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in. We're going to try and get to as many as we can here with the water cooler coming up. Going through Fantasy Life's favorite sleepers here. And there are a ton of articles on the website that you guys definitely want to go and check out. Dwayne mentioned that he had one for draft strategies for ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper. I just tweeted that one out at Valenzuela17 if you want to go check it out. Rashid, Shaheed to you, Adam. A sleeper that you want to get in on. I know we've talked a lot about Chris Olave and what this offense could potentially look like. We still don't have a quarterback announced, a QB1 announced for this team yet, but between Tyler Shuck and, I know people are waiting on the edge of their seat, Adam, between Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, but would you consider Rashid Shaheed a sleeper that you want on some of your teams? He has, posted 4 top 18 PPR fantasy finishes in 6 games last season when we look at him. There's definitely good and bad when we look at this Saints team. But what do you think with Rashid Shaheed?
Yeah, I'm willing to draft him where he's going. Again, this is another situation where you're drafting him and he's on your bench. And we know how explosive he can be. Of course, the quarterback situation and the whole offensive environment there is a concern. But that's the reason why you're getting him so late in drafts. And he's just a big play threat. So if you can get at least decent quarterback play and just get Shaheed the ball, because it's pretty much him, Chris Olave, Kamara out of the backfield. Yeah, I'm willing to take that chance because he's often going, around wide receiver 50, outside the top 50. So a lot of times, at least for my builds, I'm usually good at wide receiver at that point. But there could be a draft where, okay, I'm looking for another receiver, and in that area, I do like him in the 50s.
Yeah, I think I took him once. I'm trying to look at my boards here. I think I took him once over the weekend and felt good about it because Rashid
I thought you
Shaheed,
took him in our draft.
Did
no?
I? Was it that one? I don't know. We draft a lot.
We did take him in the charity league.
Oh, maybe that was pick. It. I didn't take.
No, you did. You took him in the GST.
Oh, I did. Look at that. Wow. It's such a good draft. Round. I forget.
10th round. But I believe that would be. So he could be a flex for you, depending on what you do with your running backs. So
I think that's why I got him, because I didn't want. I took Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby, and my expectation was Rashid Shaheed in the flex, which I know. Don't cringe, you guys. I understand you're gonna have some lighter spots, but Rashid Shaheed is one where obviously I'm comfortable drafting him because I did it over the weekend a couple times. I want to say, but between him, maybe like even a Keon Coleman, they feel like cheap wide receivers that you can draft in fantasy and feel somewhat okay about their week 1 upside. Keon Coleman's another one where are you thinking that, I don't even know if we can call Keon Coleman a sleeper, but the expectations for the Bills are that, what we've seen in the past is that it's just going to be spread around a lot. We've talked about Khalil Shakir on this show, but Keon Coleman for you, a sleeper that you're willing to take, or are you passing on him?
So he's not a target for me. I have taken him in best ball. It really comes down to what's on the board. I just cannot see, though,
I know.
I don't see one guy like emerging here for great fantasy value in Buffalo. Even Josh Palmer is being talked about now. You still have Dalton Kincaid. You have the running back. So I understand why people are optimistic on Coleman, but I just don't see it consistently happen every week. You know, I think you'll have that one big game where he gets a deep pass for 50 plus yards, maybe scores a touchdown. But I just going to see there's going to be many weeks where it's like 3 for 34.
I think a lot of people are looking at the midseason hand wrist injury last year and saying that there's a lot left on the bone. Like maybe if that didn't happen, that he would have been in a bigger role or better. I'm with you more so that we're probably going to see that ball spread around a lot more, just like how we've talked about before. But Keon Coleman, I'm not, like you said, I'm not targeting him, but if he falls, I'll maybe take him there. We're going to the water cooler. We're going through the news and notes. We're taking your phone calls here. Coming up next. Oh, it is time for that Fantasy Life water cooler. Welcome in, everyone. We're going through all the pieces of news that we might have missed over the weekend, filling you in and getting you ready, of course, for those fantasy football drafts. And we're taking your phone calls while we're doing it as well. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. We want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions, as many as we can get to during this segment and throughout the remainder of the show. If you can't call in right now, you know, you're at work, you're in a meeting, whatever you're doing, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, you can send in those questions as well. I've got some queued up for us, Adam, because it's a big week. We've got a lot. I've got 3 drafts this weekend. How many do you have? Do you have any this weekend? This is a big draft.
Well,
week.
I do have Wednesday. It's a Beat Adam Ronis League in the NFFC. So 9 p.m. Eastern. So $2,100 in league prizes and the grand prize of $250,000. So there are some spots remaining.
Wow.
Just go to my Twitter at Adam Ronis. I pinned it.
No
There's a link there. So if you think you're good, you're listening, you're like, I'm better than this guy. Come bring it. Here's your chance. Let's go.
Go beat Adam Ronis. I think I have one of those leagues opening up this week too.
Oh yeah, mine? Finally. Let's go.
Can you join mine? Beat Kendall. I'll keep you guys updated. But you said you have that pinned on your Twitter?
Yeah, it's pinned. So Wednesday, the 27th, 9 p.m. Eastern. I have my home league draft on Thursday.
Love.
Then Friday, I'm actually going to be broadcasting the NFFC Super League. So that's also live. That draft is at the Greenwich Street Tavern as well. He's also hosting all the NFFC high stakes leagues on Friday. So we'll be broadcasting that draft. It'll be Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. So heavy hitters, some of the top players in that. So we'll be kind of a broadcast, go through their builds, and we'll see who has the hype, who's moving up, because that is a league literally where you gotta, if you believe in someone, you're gonna have to push them up the board.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Wow, back-to-back weekends at the Greenwich Street Tavern. Look at you. That's fun.
Living it up.
Living it up. Just like everyone here listening. I know it for a fact. We've got the best listeners. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com. Use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off any Fantasy Life Plus Tier 1 or Tier 2 subscription there. We've got all of our rankings getting updated every single day. We've got all the tools that you need during your drafts as well. Projections, that ADP grid that we use every single day on the show. And if you want to get some practice in, we've got the mock draft simulator, which has helped me get ready for a ton of drafts, and I know it'll help you guys as well. So again, fantasylife.com is where you want to go. Make sure you're calling in. Make sure you're sending us some questions here, and we're going to get to them. Let's start with, you know what? Jauan Jennings and Kyle Shanahan saying that he expects Jauan Jennings to be ready for week 1. We've tiptoed around this, Adam, a little bit. I've still been taking Jauan Jennings because we know that there's a contract situation going on and that he's a little bit banged up. But in the back of my mind, Adam, I've always said to myself, you know what? We love Ricky Pearsall for sure, but depending on where he was going in drafts, I think that sometimes Jauan Jennings would fall too far. And so now we have Kyle Shanahan over the weekend saying that he expects Jauan Jennings to be ready for week 1. When he was asked about his availability and everything like that, things can change from now until, a week and a half when games actually get started, because there is still no end in sight, it looks like, to the contract situation. But it would be really big news if he did go out there for this team and was ready to play for the first game of the season.
Yeah, there was an article, though, last night that said there's a chance that Jennings gets placed on IR.
What?
So, yeah.
Who wrote that? Dang it.
Yeah.
This is why it's important.
I'll post the link for you here. But, yeah, so that is being talked
then
about
never
here.
mind. No, I'm just kidding.
So we'll see. I mean, it's
That's totally different than what we heard
because
2 days ago.
it's also has to deal with the
I see it.
contract stalemate as well. So again, this is not official. This is what someone wrote up, that there's frustration on both sides because he hasn't practiced with the calf injury, and then the 49ers don't want to restructure his contract. So it's just saying that if they put Jennings on IR, it would hurt Jennings financially, reduce his chances at incentives and game bonuses, and they're already thin at wide receiver too. So they're also saying, though, this being mentioned is kind of a threat to Jennings' camp to say, hey, get back on the practice field so you're ready for week 1. So there's a little games going on here.
Wow, there's a lot going on. I got him at pick 130 in a draft.
130?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's way...
yeah, it's way past. Like, he's usually around... It depends. RT Sports, he's going at pick 80. And you were just talking about RT Sports with Dwayne McFarland. Those are sharp drafts. 104 on Sleeper, 122 on ESPN, 130 it was CBS on CBS. So at some point, you and I always talk about, calculating the risks that we want to take and making sure we manage them appropriately. But when I look at a price of Jauan Jennings, probably like 125 plus, and I look at my build as well, Adam, he is someone that I am saying, okay, I know that maybe I'm getting zeros from this guy to start the season. He might be good to start week 1, but they need Jauan Jennings out there. I know that, we've looked around and we really like Ricky Pearsall, but to expect Ricky Pearsall to be able to hold this wide receiver group up the whole season, it could happen, but they need Jauan Jennings back out there. That's just how I look at it.
So this was the quote from Shanahan. They asked him if Jennings was in jeopardy of missing week 1. He says, I mean, if it doesn't heal, yes, but I expect him to be back. I think he should be back from it, but you never know with calves. So yeah, there's a little bit going on
weird
here.
Stuff going on. How about you? Have you taken any Jennings?
Earlier drafts, yeah.
Yeah, post,
not lately,
calf,
no. Like he went in our GST league in round 7. So
yeah, it was a little early.
Look, if he's back week 1, it's not early, and if he performs to the level he did last year, so that's the issue right now. It's kind of tricky with him. So he has moved down my rankings, but there's plenty of opportunity if he is ready to start the year. We saw it last year. He was good. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he was a 7th round pick and he broke out late, but he never really got the opportunity until last year. And again, they are very thin. You do have this shapes up. We've been talking about it all summer, but it shapes up in a big way for George Kittle. Like I'm actually fine taking him in the 3rd round. I haven't done it, but you never know. Like if I'm picking late 3rd round and he's on the board, I'm going to take him. The thing is, remember, I've had a lot of early picks. So if I'm picking early, if I don't take Kittle at 3-3-3-4, which I haven't, by the time it comes back, he's gone. So I have no opportunity. So a lot of times it's where you pick. So like I have picked 9 in my home league. So I know someone's listening now that picks 8. So now he hears this and he's not going to let Kittle fall to me. So, but hey,
price we pay.
I'm here to help the listeners. It's not about me.
We're here for the people.
But I also think, some people are like, oh, why you talk about your drafts? But when you say something and you do it, you back it up, it enforces it, right? Because you can say whatever you want, but if you don't actually do it with money on the line and you're on the clock, then you can say whatever you want. So I think it comes down to what you do when that clock is ticking and you have to make that decision.
And that's why we like to post. I'll always post, drafts that we do and just say, hey, here's how it worked out. It's 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. And we're taking guys that we always talk about here. And so it's one of those things where, again, Jauan Jennings, I did take him in Vegas for one of the drafts later too. And it was one of those things where I'm taking the risk and I'm hoping that it's going to work out and that he's going to get back out there. Let's go through one more piece of news here. And then I see we've got a lot of callers. We appreciate you hanging out and waiting. We are going to get to you here. Oh, Naji Harris, Adam. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what to make of the Naji Harris news. So there were quotes coming out over the weekend that the Los Angeles Chargers general manager said he is hopeful that running back Najee Harris will play week 1. He has been on the NFI list for all of training camp after, again, if you don't remember, it was the July 4th fireworks incident that happened. I went to their preseason game last weekend. I was trying to see him. He had glasses, he had the reflective glasses on, Adam. I was trying to see if he was going to take them off on the sideline, see if it was, bandaged up or anything. But so their GM came out and said, Najee's doing great, going through all the medical processes, but he's on track, and I think he should be able to go hopefully in week 1. Do you buy that?
I don't.
I cannot look at that and say that he's going to be good to go.
Yeah, I'm not buying it either. You don't practice at all. You're on a new team, new offense, and then all of a sudden they're just going to throw you in there. I don't see it.
I don't know.
There was no pun intended with that.
It's so we don't do it intentionally. We promise. It's just how we talk. But yeah, and then Harbaugh comes out and said, quote, when Najee's ready to play, he'll be ready to play. Right now, to take it past today would be going over the legal limit. I looked at my shares and I had early before 4th of July Najee Harris shares, just because in the beginning thought it was going to be more of a split there with Amari and Hampton, and said, okay, for a split, depending on where I get him in drafts, I'm going to be okay and comfortable taking Najee Harris. But right now, I would just be careful. I think, right, Adam, is the best advice that we can give, because people might see this news and think, oh, well, Najee Harris is going to be good to go for week 1. I should jump on and draft him before his price gets too expensive. But when we look at his ADPs everywhere, I haven't taken him since that incident happened.
Yeah, I haven't.
And I don't plan to.
Yeah, I haven't either. And again, he probably will play a role when he's healthy and good to go. But we also have no detail on this injury. They have said nothing. Have we even seen a picture of his face? No,
that's why I said I was trying at the game. I was trying to look around, see if he was going to take the glasses off. No, we have nothing. I don't know. It just feels, we've talked about bad vibes. This feels like bad vibes.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't drafted and I won't. And I would be very surprised if he plays week 1. But then again, we'll see. I guess we'll find out when they return to practice. Is he out there?
He's going pick 163 on ESPN, 118 on Sleeper, 119 Yahoo, 125 on CBS.
Yeah, the ESPN one was the only one where I would consider.
Yeah, 163. And then he put him on the bench.
But that's also their default, I think, is 10-team league. So if you're talking 10-team leagues, yeah. And I don't even know how many rounds they're, I'm assuming 16. So he's basically almost undraftable in that format, is what they're telling you?
Maybe. So we'll have to keep a lookout on that. I was going to say the same thing you just did. I'm not going to say it. We won't keep an eye on that. We'll just watch out for the Najee Harris injury. Be careful though when you're reading some of that. We'll see if he's going to be able to play week 1. Maybe not there. Let's go out to the phone lines now though, Adam. Let's check in with everyone, see what people need for their drafts coming up. Again, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X as well. If you can't call in today, make sure you send us the message there. We'll try and get back to you over there. Let's go and start off with Rob in San Diego. Rob, what do you got for us?
Hello.
Hey, Rob, what do you got for us?
Hey. So this is could be easy or it could be complicated. So I have a keeper question that is really a roster construct, sort of draft strategy question. So it's a 6-player keeper league, PPR. I'm the last pick in the league. So starting week 6 on the 7th round, right? My keepers, my first 5 are stacked, pretty set. So then I'm really trying to figure out if I keep Breece Hall, Ken Walker, or Laporta as my 7th. I've got 3 wide receiver 1s and 2 good wide receivers with H.N. and Chase Brown. And so I'm trying to figure out one of those 3 to keep. And then as I come around, right, I get to 12, 13, and I don't come around all the way again. So if I don't keep Laporta and he's around, or Njoku's around or something, you know what I mean? I'm trying to balance all that out. And maybe I'm making it too complicated.
No, I think it's a good question, Rob, because we talk all the time, Adam, about roster construction, especially how important it is in keeper leagues to know where you're at. If you've already got Dak Prescott, you said you have good wide receiver 1s as well, between Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Sam Laporta. Any one that you would keep there, Adam, that you like more than the others?
Yeah, for me, it's Kenneth Walker. Yes. And yes, people are panicking about his injuries, but he was back at practice last week, took part in a team scrimmage, and people act like he misses 12 games a year. It's not that bad. It's 9 in his first 3 years. But he was good last year when you consider that the offensive line wasn't good. And he had a great start to the season. He had he had 7 touchdowns in his first 5 games last year. He increased his role in the passing game, and he averaged 18.1 touches per game last season. And now Clint Kubiak comes in. If you've seen any Seahawks preseason games, the running backs with wide open lanes. The offensive line looks like it's doing its job. So I'm going to take Kenneth Walker here, especially since, I mean, it's like, well, you're keeping 6. You want to make him a 5th, 6th round pick. You know, he generally goes in the 4th. He did go in the 3rd round of a draft this weekend, but I'm going to take him because if he does stay healthy, or if he stays healthy for the majority of the season, I mean, he could be a top 10 running back in fantasy.
Well, and especially with what we have talked about with Clint Kubiak, right? And appreciate you, Rob, calling in. But I'm with the Kenneth Walker. You know, I know people are going to be nervous because you missed 6 games last year. You missed, 2, and then 2 in 2022, 2023. All for different. It's been the abdomen, really, but it's been the groin injuries, the hamstrings. But with what Clint Kubiak expects to do in this offense and the pass catching work that he can get, it'll be a world of difference for Kenneth Walker in 2025. Let's go out to Mark here in Pennsylvania. Mark, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, I drafted Chris Rodriguez in like the 13th round, and Najee Harris is out there on the waiver wire. I don't know if that's somebody I should go after, or should I just hang on to my bingo card with Rodriguez.
Ooh, I like that. I like this question because I would actually say, Adam, to go out and get Najee Harris if he's on waivers.
Yeah, I agree. As much as we were saying some not positive things about him.
I mean, but if he's on waivers, it's way different than drafting him in the 7th, 8th round.
And we're just not sure what Rodriguez's role is going to be. I mean, it could only be goal line work. It could be not much work. Whereas with Harris, we know that he will see the field when he's good to go. And yes, it's going to be Omarion Hampton mainly, but if Hampton goes down, I mean, you want a running back in this offense. So yeah, it would be Harris for me. I mean, I have Harris running tires, so yeah, I would make that move.
Yeah, I said Najee Harris for me as well, Mark. Let's continue on here. Let's go out to Jay in Boston. Jay, what do you got for us? Hey Jay, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, I'm in a 10-team half-point PPR, and we keep half our roster, so we keep 12 players. I have the 2nd pick and the 6th pick in the 1st round. And at 2, Chase is already kept, so I'm pretty much going to lock in on Jahmyr Gibbs. But with the 6th pick, I'm wondering, should I go best receiver available, which is probably going to be CD or Jefferson, or go best running back available? I feel like my keepers, I'm pretty stacked at wide receiver with Brian Thomas Jr., DK Metcalf, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, and Josh Downs. I'd like to know what you guys think.
Yeah, I would not say that's stacked in a 10-team league. I would definitely take Lamb or Jefferson if they're there. Whoever you take, that becomes your wide receiver 1 if you do have Lamb or Jefferson. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the receiver there. And I can't see another running back that I would take over him. If you're taking Gibbs, I'm assuming Bijan's gone. I guess only maybe Ashton Genty is in the conversation, but no way. I'm taking one of those receivers. I'm sorry. It's not a stacked receiver group in a 10-team league.
But when Jay gets beat, you have BTJ, DK, Olave, and then one CD or Jefferson, then it's stacked.
Yeah, then it becomes better. Yeah, because Thomas becomes your 2. DK obviously could command a huge target share there. Williams obviously has potential to improve on last year.
Everyone's high on Jameson Williams.
Yeah, and Downs, we know how good he is, and we know Daniel Jones is better for him, but he is still dealing with a hamstring injury. Needs to get further updates on that. So, yeah, I think you got to take the wide receiver.
You taking CD or Jefferson? Who's higher?
I have CD 2, Jefferson 3.
Yeah.
So, again, when Dak Prescott is healthy, we saw what Lamb did. Jefferson, I'm fine with 2. He does have a new quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. He's excelled whoever the quarterback is, especially to begin the year, too. No Jordan Addison. So he's going to get a lot of targets. So it's splitting hairs, but I have Lamb 1 spot higher.
All right, we're going to keep going here. I want to make sure that we still continue to take these phone calls because we know there's a lot of burning questions here with the fantasy season coming up so quickly. Big drafts this weekend as well. So make sure you stay on the line there and we'll continue to take your phone calls as well. We're going to go locking them in. I want to talk through these backfields. I know a lot of people have questions on backfields right now. So we're going to see if we're locking them in, presented by Xfinity here coming up next. As always, appreciate everyone hanging out with us right here. We've got the best listeners. We're going to see if we are locking in these players. Want to go through some ambiguous backfields here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns. Of course, we have to talk through the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is all presented by Xfinity, though, introducing the 5-year price guarantee, because nothing's a guarantee, Adam, in fantasy football, but why should your internet not be a guarantee? It's one consistent internet price for the next 5 years, totally guaranteed. By the way, there's a fly in my room. If I mute my mic, you might just have to take it because I just.
Oh, come on. You're going to let a fly?
What are you talking about?
You're a professional.
It's
what are you
huge.
doing?
What are you talking about? Also, how does flies get into the most random places in your house? How does it get up here? I don't know. Door's always closed. Nothing's here.
Yeah, you don't go outside, so the door never
exactly.
opens.
What's going on? You think I open a window? No, I don't. So how it's in here? If you don't hear me fly, it's because it's flying around. It's freaking me out. What are we talking about?
Come on,
no,
you're able to.
Ew, stop. Don't do this.
Great job, guys. Great job.
Like.
Right on cue.
This
Love
is bullying. Whatever. What are we
are ready for week 1 now. We had a little kinks to work out at the beginning of the show, but we are good to go now.
We are mid-season form. Yeah, Bill, mid-season form. Okay, locking them in. Not locking this fly in, but we're gonna look at. I'm looking around at him. I can't even think. Stop. Get out of here. Get out of here. So we've already talked a little bit about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was interesting watching drafts over the weekend because it was a clear split between people who believed that Bashal Tutin could be the guy that you want to take in drafts. I took Tank Bigsby over the weekend as well. And then we still have to talk about Travis Etienne and what the workload is looking like or what we should expect between the three of these guys. The bad answer, Adam, could be that it really is just this three-way committee. It's a three-headed monster, and we don't really see anyone emerge from the fog of just being the RB1 in this backfield. But I'm curious if we're locking, or for you, if you're locking any of these guys into your lineups or into your drafts right now.
So I don't think you can lock any of them in. Now, the price on them are all relatively inexpensive. So here, okay, so we heard rumors the last day or so that Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby could be traded. This current coaching staff drafted Tutin. So you would think that is their guy. He's had fumbling issues. Etienne has worked mostly with the first team from what we heard here in training camp. So I have Etienne ranked the highest. You can usually get him around 8 or 9. So if that's your RB3, RB4, I'm willing to take that chance because there will be value in this backfield if we expect this offense to be successful because Liam Cohen's coming in. Then Tutin is next for me because of what I just said, that he could be the potential, the coaching staff that is there now drafted him. So, and Bigsby, I really haven't drafted. So I have it Etienne, Tutin, Bigsby, but it's really something to pay attention to see if they can trade one of these guys. That would really open things up. But yeah, I have Etienne in some earlier drafts. I took Tutin, I believe, in my Beat Adam Ronis League last week. So I'm hoping it's one of those two that gets the majority here. Now, if they don't make a trade, then it could be a headache here. Like, so with Etienne, everyone's looking at his numbers last year and how he fell off. But it was just 2 years ago. He's one of the top fantasy backs. He was a little banged up last year. And it is a new offense where the pass catching back could be value, and Etienne could excel in that role. But it could also be a split where all three guys are involved, and that would not be ideal for fantasy.
I mean, like you just said, it wasn't that long ago where we're talking about Etienne in 2023. It was a career best RB7 on a per game basis. And he had 325 touches that year as well. So it's just, I took Tank as well over the weekend. And I have taken earlier in the offseason, I took a lot more Bashal Tutin just because, like you said, the draft capital, everything else that comes along with him. What did we get? Diana Rossini over the weekend saying that it's the Saints, Browns, and Chiefs looking for running backs right now. We know that the 49ers already traded and went out and got Brian Robinson. I'm surprised the Cowboys aren't in this mix, to be totally honest.
They don't care about running back. I mean, they've shown it like every draft we sit there the last 2 years, like, oh, they're going to take a running back, especially this past year with the deep class. And they wait till the 5th round to get Jaden Blue. So, yeah,
but they give up a 4th for Jonathan Mingo, and they can't give up a 6th or an 8th for one of these guys. What are we doing? Yeah. I thought they should have gone out and gotten Brian Robinson, to be totally honest.
I don't know what they're doing. They just think running back. They hear the people that say running backs don't matter, and they're like, you know what? They're right. So
hey, we can talk about. You want to talk about them really quick? Your expectations here, because if we're talking about ambiguous backfields, I love that word, by the way. It's just a really good word. Jaden Blue has a low ankle sprain that he suffered on Saturday. So again, you guys are going to see that news. It was ruled a low ankle sprain. Again, this is a team where week 1 fighting for carries against really Javonte Williams might have a role the whole season, but we're talking about a guy that we want to consistently get in drafts, walk away with, that could have a bigger role throughout the whole entire year. It's always been Jaden Blue that we've talked about. Are you still drafting him the most out of Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders in this backfield?
Yeah, I didn't really get him much. I guess the price has gone up, but I am interested in Blue. He's got that explosive ability, especially in the passing game. And yeah, he's not going to be a feature back where he's getting a ton of carries between the tackles, but I think he brings that element to the backfield that they've kind of been missing. Javonte Williams, I'm just not convinced that it's going to be good for him, and maybe he's going to get that first opportunity, obviously, and he's been running with the ones in camp most of the time just because other guys have been injured. So, and some of the comments were, whenever you hear like, oh yeah, he's a professional and other, it has nothing to do with football. Like, I think it was Nick Chubb. We heard some similar comments too. It's just not good. So it's unfortunate for Javonte Williams. A good prospect coming out, and just the knee injury has just sapped a lot of his ability. He did perform well in the passing game last year, but I have not drafted any Javonte Williams, who usually goes way ahead of Blue. So I'll just wait and take Blue.
Yeah, it stinks because he was electric before that 2022 injury. It was just one of those guys that was so exciting. And it just hasn't happened. And it didn't, to me, Adam, too, when we talk about, oh, well, now this is going to be his time. Now this is going to be his time. It felt like it should have been that when he was back in Denver. And unfortunately, we just didn't get that with the potential workload that he was able to have back there for the Broncos. And it just never came up. And so for me, I'm with you, Jaden Blue. I haven't gotten as much as I thought I had, to be totally honest. But that's one of those things where I just watch out. And if Jaden Blue falls into a good range with me, then I'm comfortable doing it. So that was locking them in here, presented by Xfinity. Again, introducing that 5-year price guarantee. You get one consistent internet price for the next 5 years, guaranteed, because for us, Adam, in fantasy, it's never guaranteed. But why not lock it in with your internet price? Again, brought to you by Xfinity. I want to go back out to the phone lines here really quick and continue taking phone calls. I know this is a big draft weekend. So let's go out to Jim in Maryland. Jim, what do you got for us?
Hey there, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I got a half-point Dynasty league, and I'm at pick 3-3, and I'm staring down some receivers, Trey Harris, Burden, and Tesla. Obviously, I got my concerns with Burden having so many people in front of him. You guys know Harris, they don't pass that much. And Tesla, I'm not sure if Jameson Williams is going to be there for a long contract or if he's going to be able to have a chance to step into a role next year.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a good question, Jim. So Dynasty, oh yeah. All right, Dynasty rookie draft question. Trey Harris, Burden, or Tesla? I will say in my rankings, Adam, I've got Burden like way ahead of both of these guys.
I agree. I mean, it might not be great this year. It might take some time, but in this offense, long term, it would be Burden for me.
The Tesla hype as well. I'm not minding it. This is a guy that obviously is going to go a couple rounds after a guy like Burden. Trey Harris, we've talked about in this Chargers offense, but obviously his value got a little bit chopped up when they go out and, sign Keenan Allen and all that. But to me, I really do like the Tesla hype. Again, a guy that's not going to be someone for you right away, especially probably in the first year, like the potential with Burden, but I'm kind of buying into it. Kind of like him.
For redraft too?
No.
Okay,
I
yeah.
did take him. Actually, he was my last pick in a 20-round draft, so I should say yes.
Fine.
That's
Fine.
different.
There's
That's
definitely
different.
there's just the path is tough right now for targets.
Well, and like we said, it's way harder for those wide receivers in round 20 to climb up the depth charts than it is for those running backs. But Adam, we've got breaking news. We got breaking news for the Washington Commanders, and good things coming for Terry McLaurin. We're going to talk about this coming up here next. We've got breaking news right here, Adam, that we have to get to. Terry McLaurin, the wait is over. It looks like Washington and their receiver, Terry McLaurin, reached an agreement today, just now, on a 3-year contract extension. Ends his hold in. It looks like that he is getting $96 million, worth up to $96 million per Adam Schefter here. He's gone through it all. Adam, we've talked about him a lot this offseason. He skipped minicamp. He held out. He held in, requested a trade. All of that to finally get this extension that is, I believe, in my opinion, deserved. We always like to see players get paid. Again, it's a 3-year extension worth over $96 million, and they finally get their guy back, ready to go.
And this isn't surprising. We knew this was going to happen, so it shouldn't have altered the way you were drafting McLaurin, because we all knew he would be there. They needed him desperately. You look at this receiving core. He meant so much to them. Now, I understand why they were hesitant to pay a 30-year-old receiver, but at the same time, he was there through all the downtimes, and now you finally got your top quarterback in Jaden Daniels. You think you're a playoff team and maybe can make a run, you got to pay him. So it looks like only like 5 receivers average more per year than him. So he wanted like in the DK Metcalf range. Metcalf's at 33 mil and McLaurin's at 32. So I think that works for both sides.
They had to do it. Well, what are we talking about here? I know that they got Deebo Samuel, but for everyone, we talked about this in the break. For everyone that said that Terry McLaurin didn't have leverage, I fully believe the opposite. Terry McLaurin, it felt like to me, had all the leverage that he needed. I know that they're going to look at his age, but what were they going to do? You have Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey down your depth chart for your wide receivers. They needed Terry McLaurin. And you and I have talked about this before. Them needing Terry McLaurin and us needing him in drafts might be a totally different story, because we expect a little bit of regression. He ran really hot last season, and he had a great year, which was great because that obviously led to him getting paid and getting this contract. But when we see the touchdowns that he came down with, it's probably going to be really hard to replicate. But still, the Washington Commanders needed Terry McLaurin, and Jaden Daniels needed Terry McLaurin. So this felt good on all sides. Now we can get back out there.
For sure. And he's generally been going in the 4th round of drafts. Looking at the ADP tool on Fantasy Life, you see that he's gone 40th on ESPN, Sleeper 43.9, 42.8 Yahoo, 49.2 on CBS. A little earlier there on RT Sports at 36.2. So generally a 4th round pick for McLaurin, coming off a career high in touchdowns. Because if you look at his numbers, they've generally been the same almost every single year. It's insane how close the numbers are. He's been between 77 and 82 receptions the last 4 years. He's been between 1,002 and 1,191 yards. And really the thing that changed last year was the touchdowns. He was never a big touchdown guy. He had 4, 5, 5, 4, and then last year 13. Now, obviously that was Jaden Daniels. So a lot of people are going to say, well, those touchdowns are going to go down. They might, but I don't see it going down significantly. He can still get 8, 9, even 10. So it really depends on, do you see the volume go up? Because that's the one thing that didn't change. The receptions and the yards really didn't see a significant uptick. And he had 117 targets as well. He had 132 the year before. So, yeah, he's not someone that I look to target. I think there's some receivers that I like going after him a little bit better. So I don't think I have him on any team.
Oh, really? 0%? You going to try and change that this weekend? Because you're right. That's the thing. Like, we've seen him before, and people can look back and say, well, he's not given us, the best fantasy numbers throughout his career. I see a wide receiver 29 finish, wide receiver 20, 30, 23, 36 in season-long finishes, PPR points per game. But look at the quarterbacks. And then you say, all right, now they've got their quarterback in Jaden Daniels. Of course, he's going to do a lot better. And now that's where I kind of stop and say, all right, well, how much can this continue on? Because like you said, 13 touchdowns with a touchdown per route rate of 2.4%, Adam. before. If you look, that's 3 times what he saw over the previous 3 seasons. So that's the one thing for me. But like you said, you have a good quarterback in there. So if you see Jaden Daniels continuing to thrive in this offense, then Terry McLaurin's probably going to continue to thrive as well with, like you said, 9, 10 touchdowns. Like, why would we count that out of him? I also don't have him on many of my teams, but like you said, it's not necessarily because of Terry McLaurin and him as a player. It's because I like other receivers in that range, and I tend to go for them more.
Yeah, you would typically think that he would have more targets. Like if you ask someone, hey, how many targets do you think McLaurin had last year? I don't think many people would say 117.
No.
You would think it was more, but I mean, I guess, is it possible to see it increase again?
With Debo? Not to say that Debo's like, the end all be all, but he is a presence there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he looked good in the preseason, I thought, Debo.
Yeah, I did too. Terry McLaurin, we have projected right now for 114 targets. And again, these are projections. That's
low for a 1.
It's low. It's for sure. 1,053 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns.
Okay. And then what, 80 catches, 81, 82?
76.
Okay.
65 for Debo, and then 185 rushing yards from Debo as well out of the backfield. But 4 touchdowns in our projections for Debo Samuel.
Yeah, so I mean McLaurin, he'll probably move up a little bit. I don't see why it should change because I was expecting him to be ready week 1 anyway.
Yeah, it shouldn't have changed the way that anyone was drafting. And I don't think, for people listening to us, that's what we've said. I don't think it did. Because, again, it's a lot different when we have some of these guys that come in that miss training camp and it's rookies or some guys on different teams, right? Najee Harris is one of the examples. But Terry McLaurin, he's been with Jaden Daniels. He knows the offense. So him holding out, we weren't as worried about him, coming back and feeling slow or sluggish or anything like that. It's for really the rookies when we talk about training camp like that and guys who have changed teams, like Naji Harris.
Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised. I was expecting McLaurin to sign this deal, be ready week 1, and we get it before people have their big drafts this weekend anyway. But again, but the people still panic. So I'm sure there were people who were like, oh, I don't know, he's not there. And now he'll have a couple weeks of practice before the game.
And you might get 1% of him this week?
I guess it's a possibility. If he falls, I don't know where I'm picking yet on Wednesday. I know I have pick 9.
I hope you get pick 10.
10?
Nice. Yeah. You haven't drafted in the back half drafts.
Oh, I did. The Beat Adam Ronis League last week, I had pick 11. I really liked the way my team turned out there. So
you can complain about it first, and then you can get really excited.
And this week's draft too on Wednesday with the NFFC is 3rd round reversal. So if you do get pick like 10, 11, then you get that early 3rd round pick too.
I usually don't love a 3rd round reversal, but I draft in 2 leagues a year that has it. And one of them Scott Fish. So Scott Fish Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's right. They had it. And I had an early pick there.
I did too. I had pick 4.
If you haven't looked at your team in a while, you go back and look at it. You're either like, wow, I got some good value. You're like, oh man, what was I thinking?
Scared. I'm kind of scared to look at mine, to be totally honest. We've got waiver runs coming soon, and I'm a little bit nervous to look at it. But I found that fly, by the way. I'm gonna get this in the break. I'm gonna if you don't hear me in the for the next 10 minutes, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Stop. That's literally what it sounds like, too. I see it. It's taunting me in front of me. I'm going to get that. All right. Terry McLaurin got his new deal. Excited to continue breaking that down. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com. Use that code SXM20. Get out of here. Get out of here. SXM20 gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription right now. We're going to continue on trying to get to as many phone calls. I see some tweets as well. I want to go through how important get out of here last round picks are, Adam, because we've talked about how important it is to just stay locked into your draft the whole way through. Last round picks, couple of the picks in the last 3 that you make are very important. We're going to go through some of the ones that we saw over the weekend and that I've been taking as well. Same with you. We're going to do that coming up next. We just broke down the news. Terry McLaurin reaching that agreement today on a 3-year contract extension with the Washington Commanders worth up to $96 million. Want to go through why the last picks of our draft matter, Adam. You have to stay locked in throughout the whole entire draft that you're doing because you could get some really good values in those later rounds. Want to make sure we're still talking and going to the phone lines though. So let's continue on. Let's go out to Peter here quickly in Tennessee. Peter, what do you got for us?
Hey, good morning, Kendall, Adam. I'm in a super flex, half PPR, 10 team. And is it better to have more strong wide receivers instead of handcuffs? I have London, Garrett, Pearsall, Adunze, and Debo. And I could pick up Mims, Keenan Allen, Cedric. I like Dante Thornton being from Tennessee. And then Rashid Shaheed. Wanted your advice on that. And then do you like Bills or Ravens, or should I get both if they're available? I got Bills with my last pick. Loving your advice on waiting to the last pick.
Awesome. Appreciate you calling in here, Peter. I think this is exactly the point that we're about to just talk about here, Adam, with last picks and why it matters, because usually we say towards the end of drafts, it's a lot easier to find some of these later round running backs climbing up those depth charts than receivers. But, we talked about Mims today. We've talked about Keenan Allen before and how he could have a strong role. I know did you take Cedric Tillman in our draft over the weekend?
And Thornton too.
Yeah. So when you have names like that compared to some of the handcuff running backs, what's your style? What are you thinking?
So I would need more detail too. It also depends on what you're running back. Remember, this is a 10-team league, so that's why these names are going to be out there. If I have 5 receivers, I would probably go with the running back handcuff or a backup running back, because think about it. When a running back gets injured and that backup's on waivers, how much is it going to cost to get him? It's going to be a lot. It's much easier to have that player on your roster. Now you don't have to waste some fab money. You can allocate it for something else. So I just think it's important. There's more receivers that can emerge that you can get that are just not going to be as expensive. Those running backs always go for a lot of money. So if I see 5 solid receivers there, so I'm leaning the running back, but I would also need to see what running backs are available, what the other running backs are on the roster. So I think it comes down specifically to what you have, but I'm generally always going to lean towards stacking those running backs. And yes, you're going to look at your roster and 3 or 4 of them might not work out. If you get 1 that goes into a primary role, 2 would be great. But like the example from 2 years ago is I had Kyron Williams like everywhere, 13th, 14th, 15th round. That obviously turned out to be a league winner. That's not going to happen every time. I mean, we could probably go back and look at last year. There probably weren't a lot. I mean, Bucky Irving was a double-digit round guy. Chase Brown was 8th or 9th, so not even. But if you look at the double-digit rounds, because so many running backs stayed healthy for the most part for most of the season. So we didn't really have it last year. I'm not sure that's going to repeat. So I prefer having as many running backs on my bench compared to the receivers, especially if you're taking the receivers early. If you build your team where the strength is the wide receivers, then you're counting on those guys pretty much every week. So you only really need maybe 1 or 2 on the bench. And I'd rather have those running backs. Just they're more valuable and they cost way more in fab.
I agree. And like Peter said, I mean, those are really good wide receivers. He's got strong receivers there with London, Garrett Wilson, Pearsall, Adunze, Debo Samuel. And so I'm the same way. That doesn't mean that I take running backs, though, the last half of the draft. That's all I take, right? I love a Marvin Mims, who we've talked about today, is someone that I've said, you know what, I want to make sure to get in on that and make sure to get a little bit of Marvin Mims on my team. Some Pat Bryants if we're staying with the Denver Broncos. But more times than not, I'll walk away with my bench, at least, Adam, having more running backs than receivers. That's just how I like to do it.
Yeah, the difficult part is that we talk about a lot of deeper leagues, and this is an example. True. It's a 10-team league, so a lot of players that we're drafting in rounds 13, 14, 15, some of these shallow formats, they're available on the waiver wire. So that's why it's important to have specific team context, because in the 10-team leagues, you're always going to have really good players on the waiver wire.
Taj Brooks, Will Shipley, DJ Giddens. Those are guys at the end. And again, Adam, those aren't sexy picks and they're not fun, because you're looking at them and saying you're only going to be able to put them into your lineups if really an injury happens. And it's not good, and it's not a fun outlook to have. We had to take, who did we handcuff? Bijan with Algier, right? In our CBS league. And I remember you texted me and you said, it's not fun, but we should probably do this, because you're getting zeros. He's not someone that you're going to put into, the flex or anything like that. It's only going to happen if an injury occurs, but you just have to do it. You just would rather have insurance on those guys. That's why it's so important when we're talking about Brian Robinson Jr. now. If you have CMC, he's going to be expensive because he is now the handcuff. If you drafted early and have Isaac Guerrero, we're sorry. It's really all changed now, and it's really going to be Brian Robinson in that role for CMC. But that's how quickly things change.
If you did take Guerrero, at least you have your first cut.
There you go. Look at you. Positive Adam Ronis today? Who is he? That's crazy.
Definitely.
He's going to a Mets game this week. That's why he's happy.
Yeah,
we appreciate
right.
Yeah, you're Mets.
Talk
Our
about
Mets.
Positivity. It ends there with the Mets.
Manifested. You're fine. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. Man, you guys are awesome. We're going to continue taking phone calls all this week. Go to fantasylife.com though. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any tier 1, tier 2. We'll see you same time tomorrow.